Bob Costas will join us. Yesterday, Bob was with us and did hint that he had a big guest coming up. He had a big guest last night. Bob Costas yesterday was with us, and Bob hinted that he could have an interview with Rock Center Brian Williams. Here's Bob Costas yesterday on the show.
We're hoping to land an interview, which I can't talk about, but we're hoping to land an interview between now and then, which will move the story forward. If that doesn't happen, then I'll sit down with Brian and hopefully be able to offer some comments that aren't exactly the same as what we've already heard over the last week.
And is the interview, can you at least tell us, with one of the principals involved in this?
Well, it'd be somebody that is close to the heart of this story. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth doing. And I'm not saying that to tantalize the audience. I'm just not at liberty to say until it happens.
So that was Bob yesterday. Around 8 o'clock last night, got word. Actually, I'd gotten word a little bit earlier that it was going to be with either McCreary or Sandusky, and then found out that it was with Jerry Sandusky, who's at the heart of this controversy at Penn State. I'm going to play about 90 seconds, a good chunk here. We have a couple other answers from Jerry Sandusky that I'll break down. I thought Bob did a great job last night. It's tough because you want to be fair as a journalist, but then you also want to be able to fire away. And it's not in person. You have a lawyer in the room, and you're on the phone, and Bob was trying to get answers from Jerry Sandusky. When you're face-to-face, sometimes you can get more out of somebody. But Bob did a great job last night, and a tough situation. But here is a portion of that interview with Bob Costas on NBC last night with Jerry Sandusky.
The grand jury report contains specific detail. There are multiple accusers, multiple eyewitnesses to various aspects of the abuse. A reasonable person says where there's this much smoke, there must be plenty of fire. What do you say?
I say that I am innocent of those charges.
Innocent? Completely innocent and falsely accused in every aspect?
Well, I could say that, I have done some of those things. I have horsed around with kids. I have showered after workouts. I have hugged them, and I have touched their leg without intent of sexual contact. So if you look at it that way, there are things that, would be accurate.
How would you define the part you played? What are you willing to concede that you've done that was wrong and you wish you had not done it?
Well, in retrospect, I shouldn't have showered with those kids. So.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what hits me the most.
Are you denying that you had any inappropriate sexual contact with any of these underage boys?
Yes, I am.
Never touched their genitals, never engaged in oral sex?
Right.
Are you a pedophile?
No.
Are you sexually attracted to young boys, to underage boys?
Am I sexually attracted to underage boys? Sexually attracted? No, I enjoy young people. I love to be around them. But no, I'm not sexually attracted to young boys.
And that's a creepy voice. Creepy voice. There was a pause in there. As I'm listening, I'm thinking, I don't know if Jerry Sandusky knows what a pedophile is. But you're taking showers with the boys. Now, what was told to me and told to me last week was that the information when I got to Joe Paterno, Jerry Sandusky was horsing around, horseplay in the shower with the boys. That's what the message was from Joe Paterno to the athletic director. There's no physical evidence. I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen in this case. Victims, if there's somebody who comes forward, says that it didn't happen, or I'm wondering how they poke holes in this. Because if you poke hole in one or two witnesses here, then the prosecution's going to have some issues with this. He keeps saying horseplay. That's his go-to line here. But there's a window here into prosecuting these kind of cases. Maybe that explains why the PA authorities, including the now governor, have taken so long to arrest him. There seems to be a little wiggle room here, but that didn't change my opinion. Yeah, Paulie.
couple questions for you. If you were Jerry Sandusky's lawyer, why would you agree to that interview?
You don't do it. And if I do it, I'm angry. I'm pounding the table. I'm saying I'm so angry at this. This brought down a great program, and my friend Joe Paterno. That's somebody who knows he's guilty. He knows he's guilty. I don't think he understands what a pedophile. I don't think he knows what it means. You're touching boys. You're showering with them. Horseplay. You're showering with one boy. Group. Still not appropriate. Creepy. Pedophile. I wouldn't have had him do the interview if I'm his attorney. And if you pick Bob, you didn't pick somebody that you could roll over. And listening to him, it didn't change my opinion. He's guilty. I told you there would be more victims coming forward, which is unfortunate. There's probably at least 10 more coming forward here. Somebody better beat the damn desk and be angry about this, or, answers here. Now you start your investigation on campus? And why the hell is he still out on $100,000 bail? That's what I asked. I asked that initially. Why is the guy out? Why does he have freedoms? I was so angry watching that last night, and I told myself I won't get angry again today. Put him in jail. It's been a busy day, busy last night for Bob, and kind enough to join us. He was with us yesterday and teased that he was going to have an interview with somebody involved in this, and certainly did with Jerry Sandusky. When did you tape the interview, Bob?
The interview was taped around 7:15, 7:20 yesterday, and then aired at 10 o'clock on Brian Williams' show. We sat down when I spoke with you in the morning. I thought the guy we were speaking with was going to be Joseph Amendola, his attorney, and we did, in fact, speak briefly with him. But literally 10, 15 minutes before we were going to sit down with Amendola, Amendola said to me, "What if I could get Sandusky on the phone? How would you feel about that?" And I said, "Let's try and do it." And so we just pivoted and made it Sandusky.
Any ground rules?
No, none. And Amendola was sitting there the whole time as the cameras rolled.
What is it that you heard? And I know we're supposed to keep our composure, but at what point did you hear something that made you go, now it's almost like a reaction as a normal, as a father figure or, parent or anything like that? Was there one moment that sort of stood out?
Well, we knew a lot of this stuff or had heard a lot of this stuff, but when you hear him give a version of events on the night that Mike McQuarrie says he saw a forcible rape, and Sandusky describes that as horseplay, and the boy had turned all the shower heads on, and he was sliding around the shower floor as if it was a water slide, and they were snapping towels, and it's horseplay. You can judge the credibility of that for yourself. And at one point, after he immediately and tersely denied that he was a pedophile with a simple and forthright, or seemingly forthright, no, I then asked him, "Are you sexually attracted to underage boys?" And he hesitated for a while and then repeated the question and then said he enjoyed the company of young people, but he was not sexually attracted to young boys.
I don't think he understands what pedophile means. That was the one thing I got. And then when you asked the question, which was such a great question, and then the pause seemed to go, I could almost hear the clock ticking, how long it was taking him to answer it. What are you thinking when he's pausing before he answers that? Plus, he's also asking, he's re-asking the question to himself to give him a little bit more time there.
Well, I'm thinking that. You're also trying to just concentrate and make sure you don't miss anything he says. He's on the phone, so you don't have facial expression or body language. So you're intently listening, and you're not thinking of what your next question is going to be necessarily, because your next question may be suggested by his answers. So you're kind of laser focused there. Not everything that we put on tape wound up going on Brian Williams. There was a lengthy version on Brian Williams, 2 different versions today on the Today Show. The entire thing is online, including an exchange where he says, there are many boys, hundreds of boys, who had no objection to my methods and who were helped by being around me. And then I suggested in response, well, yes, but what you're describing could be part of what is a classic MO of people who are child predators, which is that They win the trust and confidence of many. They're not necessarily attracted to all of them, don't necessarily act upon every attraction. So just because you could plausibly run 100 or more kids through here who say everything was fine and I never experienced this, doesn't discount what others have alleged.
What didn't air last night that maybe aired in other shows that maybe stood out a little bit more to you, aside from what you just mentioned? Was there any one of those moments where you go, he's actually saying this and I'm shocked?
Well, just the description of the things that he will acknowledge doing that he seems to think were only mistakes in judgment. If you take the most benign possible interpretation, even take what he and his attorney concede, this is so highly inappropriate that such a person has no business, regardless of whether somewhere in the mix of things they actually harbor a charitable impulse toward young children. That person has no business, even with the minimum stipulations here, being around young children on any kind of ongoing basis.
Change your opinion at all of what you knew and then after interviewing him?
Well, you can be the judge. Viewers can be the judge. They can guess what I think. Probably shouldn't say. It's a story that I and perhaps you will be covering in an ongoing way. I could be sitting down with some of the principals for future interviews. I hope I'd be able to ask the tough questions, but not reach any undue judgments.
Did you try to get a hold of Mike McQuarrie?
Yes, we tried to get a hold of Mike McQuarrie and spoke with someone close to him who made it clear that Mike would not be speaking to the media anytime soon. I sort of feel in that respect like I'm at the front of a line that isn't moving. So in that sense, although we got Sandusky last night and we got Amendola, but in the case of hoping to speak with Joe Paterno or hoping to speak with Mike McQuarrie, being told, well, if we do it with anybody, we'll probably do it with you. If the line isn't moving, the guy at the front isn't any closer, really, than the guy in the 20th spot on the queue.
Think this will be used in court, the legal process with Jerry Sandusky, the interview?
I'm not qualified to say. I guess it's possible. Could be.
Yeah. Great job. I know it's been a busy 24 hours. We appreciate it, Bob.
Dan, you know how much I like these early morning calls. Even with stuff less consequential than this, I'm at my best on 3 hours sleep.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, Dan. Bye.
Bob Costas, NBC. And he's right. He doesn't want to give the opinion. Although you can sometimes look at the questions, listen to the questions, gauge the volume, direction. And obviously, you can tell. It just sometimes it just doesn't make sense what you're hearing. And then you're kind of saying it back to the subject and saying, do you really understand what, are you attracted to young boys? Am I attracted to young boys? Do you really need to re-ask the question to yourself? No, I'm not. I help these at-risk kids. I mean, isn't that the logical response here? I don't think Jerry Sandusky knows what he did, in his mind, is wrong. Yes, he did.
I'm shocked that was the lawyer's idea.
Oh,
to put him on the phone.
He should be fired.
Shocked.
He should be fired. Should be fired. There's nothing Jerry Sandusky needs to say now that's going to help him. He needs to have help once he needs help in a variety of ways, but he needs help once he goes to trial. Not in an interview like this. Great get for Bob. But, Mike McQuarrie's doing the right thing. Don't say anything. Have your day when you're going to be saying something. Because you know what it's going to be? He said. And I hope, and I know what's going to happen. They're going to go after, some of these victims, and they're going to try to poke holes in their stories. But I hope that people have courage to be able to stand up to this. And that's what it's going to take. A hell of a lot of courage. And a lot of them aren't going to want to come forward. Would you want to come forward? Would you want this out there? Let's say you're a grown man. Let's say you have a family. Would you want this? Would you want to come out and say, hey, he did this to me? It takes a hell of a lot of guts. But I hope these kids who are now grown-ups are able to do it.